Welcome to On Demand Module 1. Start the year off right with National Geographic World Cultures and Geography. National Geographic World Cultures and Geography is a core geography program developed for middle school students in grades 6 through 8. You may be asking yourself a few questions about the program, like what does National Geographic World Cultures and Geography have to offer me and my students? What components will I have available in my classroom? And how's the program set up? What's the instructional design? In this session, I will share with you an overview of the program, including some information regarding the research basis. We'll take a look at each of the program components for both teachers and students, and we'll take a detailed look at the instructional design of the program, from the unit launch to chapter instruction. The overall objective for this session is to increase your knowledge of world cultures and geography so that you feel equipped to go into the classroom tomorrow and implement a lesson. Before we dive into the specifics of the program, let me share 3 key program attributes that really set World Geography and Cultures apart from the other geography programs out there. First is, of course, the connection to National Geographic. This connection is built right into the front of the teacher's edition. First, students are introduced to the National Geographic explorers that are out in their field today. Students then learn what types of tools geographers are out there using and other tools that they can study and use for each region. And students are also introduced to the National Geography standards so that they can develop their higher order thinking skills throughout the program. The next attribute that sets World Cultures and Geography apart is the built-in active learning for our active middle school students. Through online resources, interactive whiteboard activities, and built-in cooperative learning routines, students are actively engaged throughout the program. And finally, the program has been developed to be accessible for all students. Differentiation strategies for English learners, striving readers, special needs students, gifted and talented students, and even pre-AP students are built into the beginning of each chapter as well as interspersed throughout the lesson. The National Geographic consultant team is made up of leading experts in the field. Our consultants include Peggy Althoff, Mark Bockenhauer, Andrew Milson, David Moore, Janet Smith, and Michael Smith. Each program consultant has a short monograph that focuses on their area of expertise, and you can find these in your teacher's resource guide, beginning on page T16. Be sure to take some time to read through these monographs, as they are there to help you better understand the research behind the program. For students, the program components include 3 different versions of the student book. The survey edition covers 11 regions, while the Eastern Hemisphere covers 8 regions. The Western Hemisphere with Europe edition covers 5. The survey edition is also available in Spanish. Here you can see a list of each region covered in the program and which student texts contain that content. It's important to note that all content for each region is the same in each student book. For example, what students would learn about Europe in the survey edition is exactly the same in the Eastern Hemisphere edition and the Western Hemisphere with Europe edition. The only difference you'll find is in the page numbers. The program also includes a variety of integrated technology resources for students, including a student e-edition with differentiated text rollovers, drop-down menus, pop-ups, an interactive map tool, a digital library of videos, photos, and music, a magazine maker for creative multimedia, the ability to connect to National Geographic for current events and research links, and guided writing templates, and rubrics. Be sure to view the MyNG Connect overview found on the World Cultures and Geography Professional Development website for a detailed overview of the technology available. The teacher components include modular teacher's editions, meaning there will be one teacher's edition for each unit of instruction. This also means that everything you need for the unit is included in the teacher's edition. Blackline masters, assessments, and even hard copies of the geo activities are found in the back of each teacher's edition in the resource bank section. You will also find a teacher's reference guide. This guide includes the program consultant monographs that I previously mentioned, as well as information on active teaching, a complete National Geographic Atlas, and copies of the handbooks that are available in the back of each student book. In addition, there is an exam view CD for the program that serves all 3 versions. This CD includes section quizzes, chapter tests at 2 reading levels, and a test item bank so that you can create your own assessments. And the technology resources aren't just for the students. The teacher site includes interactive teachers e-editions, fast-forward core content presentations, an online lesson planner, assessment resources, interactive whiteboard geo activities with scripts, the interactive map tool with scripts, and Geo video and Explorer video clips. Again, be sure to watch the MyNG Connect overview for more details on each of the site's features. Now, let's dive in and see how the program is set up and just how easy it is to use. For our purposes today, we're going to look closely at the survey edition using Unit 9, South Asia, as our focal point. However, each unit is set up the same way, so if you focus on the purpose of the lesson rather than the specific content, you'll be able to easily apply what you learn to the unit you have in front of you. Please turn to the table of contents for your unit. Throughout the text, you will find this very consistent table of content format. As you are viewing the table of contents, you can see the page is divided into 2 columns. On the left-hand side of the page, you can see that each unit is divided into 2 chapters. Each chapter has 3 to 6 short, directed 2-page lessons that are ideal for daily instruction. On the right side of the page, the tech track shows the online resources available for the unit, including access to National Geographic's digital library, interactive maps, and whiteboard activities. World Geography and Cultures incorporates the 5 strands of social studies into each unit. Geography and history will be covered in the first chapter, while culture, government, and economy and the focus on the country will be the focus of the second chapter. Each unit will include the first 4, but the focus on country will only be included in some of the units. Before we get into the example of the South Asia unit, I want to point out that in Unit 1 of each of the student books is the Essentials of Geography. In this unit, students will learn essential skills like what geographers use in the field, especially maps, as well as an introduction to the themes and elements of geography. They'll also get an overview of the types of topics that will be covered for each region. Now, let's dive into the unit that you have in front of you. Each unit begins with a full inviting 2-page spread that's designed to help students with background information regarding the region of focus. They have the opportunity to meet an explorer who has extensive background in the region. They get to focus on some of the geography specific to that area, and they have a chance to step into history and get a little preview of what they'll be learning. When students are accessing the text online through the e-edition, the 3 boxes on the left provide live links to additional content about the region. Students even begin to make a connection to the culture with the visual and the captions provided. Also notice in the top right corner of the page, a map identifies the region that students will be studying in the unit. Following the unit launch, the chapter planner provides a quick at-a-glance look at the lesson objectives, support resources from the Teacher's Edition resource bank, available assessments, and online resources. Each lesson of the chapter is designed as a 2-page self-contained spread as opposed to 6 or 8 pages that you would find in other programs. This makes it easy to get through an entire lesson in one class period. As you flip through the planner pages, the last page also identifies the chapter review and assessment. As previously mentioned, this program is designed to be accessible for all students. Pause the session and take a few minutes to look over the strategies provided for differentiation. These are general differentiation strategies that can be used with multiple lessons throughout the chapter, as identified under each strategy. Now, let's look at the first 2-page lesson, which is actually a preview of the chapter. This lesson is designed to introduce students to the region, the essential question, and the chapter vocabulary. Each part of the chapter has a guiding essential question. These questions help keep the students focused as they continue to read and learn about each region. Each 2-page lesson will have active options built in, and many of the active options focus on using the interactive map tool. As you can see in your Teacher's Edition, there are specific guidelines or directions for each of these activities. The best thing about this interactive map tool is that if something happens that changes the geography in some way, students will see it immediately. With this tool, students interact with maps and they draw country borders and use a click and drag tool to label country elements. Here's a quick video demo of how the interactive map tool works.
The interactive map tool allows teachers and students to make maps and explore geographic data in a fun visual way. You can pick a region and country from the menus, or drag and zoom the map manually. There are also several map modes to choose from, and over 15 regularly updated data layers that can be overlaid on the map for any part of the world. Here we've zoomed in on the Indus River Valley in Pakistan in the satellite map mode and turned on the population density data set. By selecting the Drawing Tools tab, you can draw on the map while they talk about the lesson. Selecting the Markers tab enables students to click and drag symbols onto the map as a review or cooperative activity. The interactive map tool is an engaging and powerful tool that can be used throughout the National Geographic World Cultures and Geography experience.
Once you've introduced the region, you'll move into the actual instruction for the first chapter. Each two-page spread is meant to be manageable in a 45 to 50-minute period. Under the reproduction of the student book pages, you'll find all the information you need for planning the section, including the objectives, critical skills, background information for you, and some information about the essential question for the chapter. Each lesson will then follow the same instructional path, beginning with introducing and engaging students, before moving on to teaching the content. And you'll also see that there are additional differentiation opportunities built into each lesson. These differentiated lessons are not the same as the ones you saw at the beginning of the chapter. These actually will be specific to the lesson. You'll also find active options in the right-hand column and ongoing assessment opportunities in the form of labs. This one is a map lab. Some of the other labs you'll find are data, writing, and photo labs. These are all built in to provide ongoing assessments you'll be able to assess students every day. Pause the session and take a few moments to page through the remainder of the chapter. When you get to the chapter review, resume the session and I'll share a few key features with you. Throughout the program, you'll find National Geographic exclusive selections where explorers share their experiences in the region. Each unit also includes a document-based question. Document-based questions are based on actual historical maps and/or documents. They focus on critical thinking skills and ask students to make comparisons, make interpretations, apply knowledge to given data, and look at issues from multiple perspectives. These DBQs will help set the foundation for critical thinking success in the student's future. As you can see, each of the documents will be presented to the students here, and then they will complete the writing lab. Hopefully, you also notice the GeoActivity active options. GeoActivities are interactive whiteboard lessons that have been developed for both SMART and Promethean boards. There is a GeoActivity available for each lesson. The next slide will provide some additional details on how the GeoActivities are set up.
The interactive whiteboard GeoActivities turn the GeoActivities for every lesson into a hands-on interactive activity designed for the whiteboard. You can step through the activity and have volunteers complete specific tasks. The answers are available at any point using a convenient slide-out tab or button. You're also provided with a blank slate to create your own activity. With one whiteboard activity for every lesson, any lesson can be extended with these engaging activities.
Now turn with me to the chapter review. Each chapter review provides the opportunity for students to think back over the content that was presented to them, from vocabulary and main ideas identified to support each section to the varied subtopics that are covered within each unit. There are even active options for students in the review. Students are also asked to analyze the essential question for geography and history and interpret charts and maps. After the chapter review, it's time to move on to the next chapter in the unit where the focus will be on the region today. At the end of each unit, students have the opportunity to compare across regions through guided discussion. And finally, there are additional active options for a unit wrap-up and project rubrics that are provided for assessing each option. Congratulations! You've almost completed the first on-demand module for World Cultures and Geography. In this session, we took a look at the program overview and research base, as well as the student and teacher components. Then we took a detailed look at the instructional design of the program, working through beginning of the unit launch and working through the chapter instruction.